Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. And for those of you who are in the US, good evening to you all. And for the rest of the world, good day to you. So today is Saturday. Every Saturday here in Manila, Philippines, we conduct our version of our doctor's webinar call. Okay, so but for today, let me just pull up my slides. Okay, let me just, okay, there we go. Okay, for today, we've invited one of our users, and her name is Miss Liovi Clavecilias. And we would like to give her an interview with regards to her case, okay? Ma'am Liovi was diagnosed to have breast cancer stage 3 sometime last December of 2017. Okay, so now let me just inform everyone, this is just a disclaimer. Our presentation today is for educational purpose alone, and there is no attempt to diagnose, treat, prevent diseases, or cure. No health statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. But again, this is her personal story. And this is one of the pictures that I grabbed from her Facebook. Here, she posted this in her timeline, I believe, this month or last month. And if I will read, my heart was filled with so much happiness when I received my CT and bone scan result, which says there's no sign of recurrent evidence of cancer. Okay, so that's 2 years ago. Okay, and although I'm healing fast, I still have to be careful and watch out what I eat, and I can surely manage it. Seven months is not that long for cancer treatment, but I've made it. Now I'm back to my feet again and feeling great and ready to tackle life next adventure. My goal now is to be well enough, and with a grateful heart, I want to thank God for leading me to the right supplement, Immunogen, that helps me a lot on my journey to cancer. And in return, I don't want to just keep it to myself, but share the good news to those who have been diagnosed with the big C or cancer. Don't lose hope because Immunogen is here. Been taking this since the day I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. Thank you, Ma'am Susan Barlin and Sir Leon Katz for bringing Immunogen to the Philippines. It was really a life-changing to many, and a lot of people benefited to Immunogen. Okay, guys. Again, this is just a disclaimer. This is where I'm not using this as a marketing material, okay? Because we invited her to share her story with us today, okay? So this is coming from her. My goal now is to be well enough, and with a grateful heart, I want to thank God for leading me to the right supplement that helps me alive. And I don't just want to keep it to myself, but share the good news to those who have been diagnosed. So that is our objective for today, guys. Again, this is to help people who badly needs help. Okay. So now, okay, joining me today, we have two doctors, and but at this very moment, Dr. Mario is here. Dr. Arlie might catch up. Let's know the backgrounds of our doctors. Let's start with Dr. Mario Ramirez. Dr. Mario Ramirez is an practicing orthopedic surgeon at the Philippine Orthopedic Center here in the Philippines. He finished top of the class at the University of the Philippines. That's Philippine General Hospital Institute of Public Health. With us, he heads the dengue and dietary nucleotide study. He also heads the clinical study, dietary nucleotide in children with neurodevelopmental disorders and autism. Now, he's a member of the International Society for Nutrigenetics. He's also a member of the World Society of Anti-Aging Medicine. Together with Dr. Marley and Dr. Susan Barlin, our CEO, they are all members of the Institute of Functional Medicine. Okay, now maybe joining us later. We have Dr. Arlie Imperio. He has a background in family medicine. He has had masteral units in public health. He also practices preventive medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and here in the Philippines, he's a member of the Kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas. Okay, that's the National Broadcasters Association here in the Philippines. Again, he is also a member of the Institute of the Functional Medicine. Now, Dr. Mario, would you like to greet them first?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I hope you will learn a lot from today's discussion, and welcome everyone.
Okay. Now next, okay. So before I introduce you to Liovi, let's hear her story first. Let's watch this video.
Last December 2017, parang naramdaman ko habang nagda-drive ako, parang sumakit dito na na side. Akala ko heart attack ako kasi na-heart attack ako last December 2015. Pagkatapos I decided to go to see my OB-GYN. Tapos sabi niya kung okay lang daw na pa-mammogram ako. Kasi kinapa niya wala namang bukol pero may pain. After ng mammogram, doon nakita na mayroon akong maliit na bukol. Kinonfirm pa yun sa ultrasound hanggang sa nakita nila na kumalat na sa lymph nodes ko. Masyado po akong na-depress. Kasi wala po akong wala akong kasama magpagtulog. Hindi ko po alam kung anong gagawin ko. Yan, depressed po ako. In the middle of the night, nagigising po ako. Hindi ko po alam kung makaka-survive ako kahit na may medication naman. Sabi ko lang, bigyan niya ako ng time na mabuhay. Yun lang. Kasi po, ang dami ko pang gustong gawin na late na dapat nagawa ko noon, hindi ko pa nagawa. Na-schedule po yung pag-opera. Tapos after ng sabi na stage 3 nga, sabi ng doktor ko magpa-chemo. Actually 8 cycles po ako, pero at the end of my 5th cycle, nag-internal bleeding po ako. So last May 28, naging critical po kasi hindi ko alam na 10 bags na pala yung nawala sa akin. Last 2 chemo ko, masyado pong malakas yung gamot na niya yung stomach ko. So yung hemoglobin ko naging 5. It was the doctor who stopped the chemo. Nung diagnose po ako, parang naramdaman ko habang nagda-drive ako, parang sumakit dito na na side. Akala ko heart attack ako kasi na-heart attack ako last December 2015. Pagkatapos I decided to go to see my OB-GYN. Tapos sabi niya kung okay lang daw na pa-mammogram ako. Kasi kinapa niya wala namang bukol pero may pain. After ng mammogram, doon nakita na mayroon akong maliit na bukol. Kinonfirm pa yun sa ultrasound hanggang sa nakita nila na kumalat na sa lymph nodes ko. Masyado po akong na-depress. Kasi wala po akong wala akong kasama magpagtulog. Hindi ko po alam kung anong gagawin ko. Yan, depressed po ako. In the middle of the night, nagigising po ako. Hindi ko po alam kung makakasurvive ako kahit na may medication naman. Sabi ko lang, bigyan niya ako ng time na mabuhay. Yun lang. Kasi po, ang dami ko pang gustong gawin na late na dapat nagawa ko noon, hindi ko pa nagawa. Na-schedule po yung pag-opera. Tapos after nung sabi na stage 3 nga, sabi ng doktor ko magpa-chemo. Actually, 8 cycles po ako. Pero at the end of my 5th cycle, nag-internal bleeding po ako. So last May 28, naging critical po kasi hindi ko alam na 10 bags na pala yung nawala sa akin. Last 2 chemo ko, masyado pong malakas yung gamot na niya yung stomach ko. So yung hemoglobin ko naging 5. It was the doctor who stopped the chemo. Nung diagnose po ako, yun, nag-start ako na uminom ng Immuregin. Yung every meal, yun ang iniinom ko. Hanggang po, sa ngayon, hindi ko po tinigilan yun. Sa ospital, naging 60-40 na po yung blood ko. Sabi ng doktor, kailangan ka na kasi 10 bags na yung nawala sa iyo. Sabi ko, hindi ako magpapa-blood transfuse. Sabi niya, mamamatay ka. Yung cardiologist ko po, ayaw kong iwanan. Sabi niya, because you had a heart attack, walang ibang mangyayari kundi heart attack talaga, sabi niya. Sabi ko, kahit na magsasign ako ng waiver. Yung masasabi ko lang po sa may mga cancer na katulad ko, maging positive lang sila at saka wag silang bumitaw sa Diyos. Kasi yung may-ari ng buhay natin, maraming ng food supplement ngayon, but piliin na ng tama na pwede makatulong talaga sa kanila.
Okay, so without further ado, I would like to introduce you guys to Miss Liovi. Miss Liovi, good afternoon. Please unmute. Please unmute, Liovi.
Okay, sir, good afternoon. Okay na?
Yes, I was
Yeah.
seeing you were in tears. Maybe you're
Yeah. Yeah, every time I hear the interview, it brings back the what had happened to me. So that's why.
okay. So tell us more about your journey, Jovi. I do understand, and I heard that during those times you even prepared already your coffin.
Yes, I'm already prepared everything. My family is ready for
Doc Marlon, when you say stage 3, meron bang stage 4? Wala naman, ano?
meron.
Meron. Stage 4 may metastasis na. Ang stage 3 may distant metastasis to lymph nodes.
Okay. So, and I've been looking at your Facebook, Liovi, and since then, I do believe that you are in a mission now, together with some of our other users. And just lately, I think you met somebody who also has the same case.
Yes, sir. Yes, from Ipil, from Zamboanga.
And
Yes.
how did you get to meet her? Through Facebook or?
Through Facebook, and then she happened to come here to Bacolod for a
Okay.
vacation, sa land trip. So she called me, and we decided to meet at the mall before she went to Iloilo.
And what is her case? Is it also the same case with you?
Yes, the same case. It's carcinoma. Ano ba yung ko? Kasi yung pareho kami ng case na parang the type of cancer na it's very fast ang niya, ang development.
Adenocarcinoma.
Adenocarcinoma. Invasive.
So what stage is she in? Anong stage? Stage 3, stage 2?
Yes, she's on stage 2B.
Okay, so is she?
And she only had two chemos, two cycles, because she cannot stand it, because she feels like vomiting everything she feels like she's not productive anymore. So she decided to stop the chemo. And then that's the time she decided to take Imurigine.
And
That's all that she like.
how is she doing now?
Ah, she's good. She has a business in Zamboanga, and she's really good. She really looks like nothing happened. We even talk and we laugh. I told her that it is as if nothing had happened to us.
So in other words, she's well now.
Yes.
Oh,
She went to Manila last week. She went back to Ipel because of her she have a PET scan,
uh,
and the PET scan results came normal.
that's nice to hear.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so what we will do is basically now you guys you've met Liovi again. Just a disclaimer: ours is just we would like to share this to everyone, especially those who badly needs help. Now I'll ask Dr. Mario to explain to us further about or educate us about DNA wellness, and maybe he can also expound on the product that helped Liovi recover, get back his her health. No? So let me share again the slide, Doc Mario. Maybe we could start with
Okay.
Mario.
Yeah. So again, if you can see, gradually we're improving in terms of what we are developing right now in the field of food supplements. It all started in 1912 with the advent of vitamins. Then nagiging specific siya. We went into specific vitamins in 1930. We went into specific vitamin C to address the problems of scurvy, particularly in the sailors. All right, then the 1980s, we went more into the herbal preparations. We know we have lots of herbal. It became so prevalent that there were a lot of companies coming in that actually put a bad picture to food supplements because there were coffees that had 135 herbal ingredients in one. So basically, it's like there were a lot of products that were quack in terms of efficacy. And however, in the 2000s, there was already the advent of antioxidants like lycopene. And we further progressed into cell-based products in 2003. And from there, we went down into the molecular level at the nucleotide level in 2016. And these nucleotides are the ingredients of our product Immurogen, and is brought to you by Forever Healthy Products. So the complex dietary nucleotides, let me explain how they act in the body. And as you know, that the body is made out of different organs, and the organs have specific tissues, and the tissues have specific cells. The cells, we get one and look inside of that central part called the nucleus. Okay, the nucleus contains 46 chromosomes. You have 23 from your mother, 23 from your father. And if you get one chromosome, you stretch it out, it is called the DNA, deoxyribonucleic acids. Okay, that DNA, if you look further inside of that DNA, you will find the letters of the chromosome of the DNA. These are called the DNA nucleotides, the guanine, cytosine, thymine, and adenine. And this nucleotides, these letters are the materials that you need to build your DNA. And this materials, the nucleotides, the molecular nucleotides, are the ingredients that you have in our product right now called Immurogen. Can you zoom out, Francis? So you can see that the DNA makes out there are you have 46 chromosomes in each cell of the body, and the DNA is the one responsible that tells on how to make new cells, or tells the cells how to make proteins and what proteins to make. So in short, it is called the blueprint of life. We will expound on that a little bit later. Okay, it contains the instruction manual for growth, development, and survival, and how the cell reproduce. It also supports the dogma of life, and we will talk about the dogma of life a little bit later on. Here it is, the dogma of life. Okay, from DNA, the DNA undergoes transcription, and it is transcribed, the information is transcribed and handed down to the RNA. And the RNA, just like a secretary, translates. So the boss gives instruction, the secretary, the RNA, puts it in shorthand or stenography. Then after getting the information from the boss, the DNA, it translates this stenography to a message, which is the protein. So the protein is the functional unit of the body, and it is the DNA responsible for giving information on what, when, and where these proteins are to be manufactured. Next slide, please.
Okay, the next slide would give is a short video that would exactly show you how the dogma of life works.
Here is a cell, the basic unit of all living tissue. In most human cells, there is a structure called the nucleus. The nucleus contains the genome. In humans, the genome is split between 23 pairs of chromosomes. Each chromosome contains a long strand of DNA, tightly packaged around proteins called histones. Within the DNA are sections called genes. These genes contain the instructions for making proteins. When a gene is switched on, an enzyme called RNA polymerase attaches to the start of the gene. It moves along the DNA, making a strand of messenger RNA out of free bases in the nucleus. The DNA code determines the order in which the free bases are added to the messenger RNA. This process is called transcription. Before the messenger RNA can be used as a template for the production of proteins, it needs to be processed. This involves removing and adding sections of RNA. The messenger RNA then moves out of the nucleus into the cytoplasm. Protein factories in the cytoplasm, called ribosomes, bind to the messenger RNA. The ribosome reads the code in the messenger RNA to produce a chain made up of amino acids. There are 20 different types of amino acid. Transfer RNA molecules carry the amino acids to the ribosome. The messenger RNA is read 3 bases at a time. As each triplet is read, a transfer RNA delivers the corresponding amino acid. This is added to a growing chain of amino acids. Once the last amino acid has been added, the chain folds into a complex 3D shape to form the protein.
Okay, Doc Mario.
Okay, so again, let me talk about epigenetic expression. The theory is that what our parents and grandparents ate could theoretically affect their genes. How much exercise they did as well, the chemicals they are exposed to, and all the factors could affect how our body would look and work. So this is what we call the epigenetic expression. So your DNA is not permanent. It could be altered by a lot of things like food, exercise, and chemicals. So here you see that the diet, your sleep correlation, if you are able to sleep well, the exposure to some diseases, toxic chemicals, abuse, drug abuse, financial status, even your financial status could affect your epigenetic modulation, your gene expression. Exercise, your gut microbiome, therapeutic drugs are also involved. Alternative medicament supplements are also involved in epigenetic expression. Social interaction with other people may also interact, and your psychological state. So all these says that your genetic composition may be altered epigenetically through all of these factors we just mentioned. That is called the epigenetic modulation. Next slide.
Okay, the next slide is another video. This would explain to us more how the body repairs itself.
The DNA in just one of your cells gets damaged tens of thousands of times per day. Multiply that by your body's 100 trillion or so cells, and you've got a quintillion DNA errors every day. And because DNA provides the blueprint for the proteins your cells need to function, damage causes serious problems, such as cancer. The errors come in different forms. Sometimes nucleotides, DNA's building blocks, get damaged. Other times nucleotides get matched up incorrectly, causing mutations. And nicks in one or both strands can interfere with DNA replication, or even cause sections of DNA to get mixed up. Fortunately, your cells have ways of fixing most of these problems, most of the time. These repair pathways all rely on specialized enzymes. Different ones respond to different types of damage. One common error is base mismatches. Each nucleotide contains a base, and during DNA replication, the enzyme DNA polymerase is supposed to bring in the right partner to pair with every base on each template strand, adenine with thymine and guanine with cytosine. But about once every 100,000 additions, it makes a mistake. The enzyme catches most of these right away and cuts off a few nucleotides and replaces them with the correct ones. And just in case it missed a few, a second set of proteins comes behind it to check. If they find a mismatch, they cut out the incorrect nucleotide and replace it. This is called mismatch repair. Together, these two systems reduce the number of base mismatch errors to about 1 in 1 billion. But DNA can get damaged after replication too. Lots of different molecules can cause chemical changes to nucleotides. Some of these come from environmental exposure, like certain compounds in tobacco smoke. But others are molecules that are found in cells naturally, like hydrogen peroxide. Certain chemical changes are so common that they have specific enzymes assigned to reverse the damage. But the cell also has more general repair pathways. If just one base is damaged, it can usually be fixed by a process called base excision repair. One enzyme snips out the damaged base, and other enzymes come in to trim around the site and replace the nucleotides. UV light can cause damage that's a little harder to fix. Sometimes it causes two adjacent nucleotides to stick together, distorting the DNA's double helix shape. Damage like this requires a more complex process called nucleotide excision repair. A team of proteins removes a long strand of 24 or so nucleotides and replaces them with fresh ones. Very high-frequency radiation, like gamma rays and X-rays, cause a different kind of damage. They can actually sever one or both strands of the DNA backbone. Double-strand breaks are the most dangerous. Even one can cause cell death. The two most common pathways for repairing double-strand breaks are called homologous recombination and non-homologous end joining. Homologous recombination uses an undamaged section of similar DNA as a template. Enzymes interlace the damaged and undamaged strands, get them to exchange sequences of nucleotides, and finally fill in the missing gaps to end up with two complete double-stranded segments. Non-homologous end joining, on the other hand, doesn't rely on a template. Instead, a series of proteins trims off a few nucleotides and then fuses the broken ends back together. This process isn't as accurate. It can cause genes to get mixed up or moved around, but it's useful when sister DNA isn't available. Of course, changes to DNA aren't always bad. Beneficial mutations can allow a species to evolve, but most of the time, we want DNA to stay the same. Defects in DNA repair are associated with premature aging and many kinds of cancer. So if you're looking for a fountain of youth, it's already operating in your cells, billions and billions of times a day.
So you can see from the video, you understand that the DNA can be affected. And we will talk about that more on how our body is able to repair the DNA. But for now, here are the facts. The DNA is called the molecular foundation of life. It is involved in epigenetic expression. Again, epigenetic expression is that the modification of your gene because of lifestyle, food, exercise, etc. So the tyranny of your DNA, the tyranny of your DNA is modified, is taken care of by epigenetics, no? So Emergent supports the dogma of life, the central dogma of life. From the DNA, you undergo transcription to RNA, and the RNA goes out of the nucleus, goes into the cytoplasm, where it translates the information to make a functional unit called the protein. And the ingredients of Emergent, we have the complex dietary nucleotides, the cytosine, guanine, thymine, or uracil for the RNA, and adenine. And we have the 17 amino acids, 118 peptides and oligopeptides. And we will talk about the fulvic trace minerals a little bit later on. So what we need to do is to focus and provide the materials for DNA health, DNA stability, and the ability of the DNA to repair itself. When your DNA is destroyed or damaged, our body has the God-given gift of repair. The only thing that is lacking in terms of the God-given gift, it's its ability to repair, because we do not have the right materials. Next slide, Francis. So the analytics for Emergent, you can see here that we have the 5 nucleotides, including the uracil, which is the uridine, okay, which is the one responsible for it's just thiamine in the RNA. This is the nucleotide in the RNA. Then we have a few nucleotides, minerals, and 2 vitamins. But the more important analytic data that you have to find out is the next slide. We have the 17 amino acids. Okay, these are the 17 amino acids. Only 3 amino acids away from the complete 20 amino acids. But the more important thing is that out of the 17, we have the nine essential amino acids. The 9 essential amino acids means that we have to supply those amino acids in the diet because the body is not able to manufacture them. So we have to essentially supply it in the food that we are eating. Next slide. So here are the supplemental facts. You can see this from the US label. This US label, as you can see, does not contain it's different from the label of the Philippines. It has the immune system booster, which the US said could be placed because basically that's what Immunogen does. It boosts your immune system. Then we have on the right, you can see the ingredients and the dosages. And you can see that small cross, the daily value are not established because it is one of the only product right now that supplies your body with the nucleotides as well as the amino acids and 118 peptides. It's a proprietary blend. It takes 90 days to manufacture 1 bottle of Immunogen. Next slide.
Okay, the following documents are all found in the internet. So we will just focus on some documents that's related to our product. So this one is the first one, Doc Mario.
Yeah, again, this is an original article by Dr. Clara Kubulkova and Dr. Alice Marcella. And they are the ones, these doctors came over to the Philippines and talked about Immunogen. So a lot of the information that we are handing you right now came from them. And they are third party. They are not associated with Unirogen, the mother company of Immunogen. They are third party researchers, and let's see what they have to say. Next slide, Francis. So what they said is that, in summary, that Immunogen is a unique dietary supplement that is developed by the Czech immunologist. It first came out in the 1950s. It was actually being studied way, way back in the 1930s, but came out in the 1950s. So it boasts of decades of research. There are a lot of research for you guys who have been in the office. We can show you some of the researches that was done. It was created to boost your immune system. It's the only immune system booster from natural ingredients that supports cellular immunity, energy, tissue regeneration, wound healing, endocrine gland repair, intestinal integrity, memory enhancement, and it has an anti-tumor effect. So a lot of this are third-party researchers. There are a lot of research in terms of all these benefits. And Dr. Peter Sima has actually done a report on the benefits of Immunogen, taking Immunogen. Next slide. So in terms of cancer, we have known, and as Lobby had told us, that one of the studies that are being done is that from this study that was already as early as 2011 of April 2011, you can see that they know that a deficiency in nucleotide promotes genomic instability in early stages of cancer development. What this says is that deficiency, if you lack nucleotides, your genes are unstable. That makes you prone to develop cancer early on, early onset of cancer. Why? Because the body needs nucleotide in order to remove those mismatch information, because the body has repair mechanisms that would remove mismatch information in terms of the defense, the defense of the body against cancer. Next slide. So in summary, they said that chromosomal instability is the main precipitating factor in the development of early stages of cancer. And this chromosomal instability is caused by stresses on the DNA replication. So if there is a wrong information on your DNA, what will happen is that this wrong information will be followed on, and will be handed down to other parts of the DNA and other parts of your body, and more of this wrong information is going to make two things, could possibly cause two things. Number one is early cell death, because there's going to be early cell apoptosis, meaning that the cell is not normal. It's an abnormal cell. Then the second is that from early apoptosis, it could also become cancerous. So it could go into a cancerous degeneration and become the early stages of cancer development. Next slide. So another study that's being done by Joseph Richter and Peter Stima, and they showed that the stimulation of the ileal epithelial cells and the regeneration of these ileal cells are stimulated by the dietary nucleotide extract. And the thing that they used here, if you can see that the second highlighted portion, they use 100 milligrams per kilogram per liter of the original extract Immurogen from the Unirogen Limited in Czech Republic. And the researches were done in several groups. Okay, we have the control group. We have two experimental groups fed with smaller diet of nucleotide, and another group with a higher diet, a higher dose of nucleotides. And you can see from the control group, the control groupers, you can see that the villi, those small finger-like projections, are very, very small. And these finger-like projections are called the intestinal villi. They're the ones responsible for absorbing minerals, food, water, and they also act as your ileal defense mechanism or your gut defense mechanism. So the details, you can see that they're very small, they're very premature, they do not look like they're adequately growing, just like a plant that's not adequately growing. They're stunted like a bonsai because they're limited in the nutrients that are being given to them. Then, whereas the experimental group, the two pictures at the bottom, you can see with the lower dose, you can see that of nucleotides, you can see how much better those ileal villi are compared to the control group. But at very high dose of dietary nucleotides, this villi are more clumped together. There was more growth in terms of the villi, more repair in the and higher and thicker villi growth in the ileum or the ileal part of your gut. This only proves that the cells are stimulated to grow. The nucleotides are the ones responsible for stimulating the growth of your intestinal villi cells, and these cells are dependent, of course, like all other cells in the body, they are all dependent on the DNA. And the DNA, of course, is dependent on the nucleotides. So again, here are the materials. We have to have the good materials to build good cells in the body. Otherwise, if you do not have the good materials, you will not be able to make good cells. And when you're not able to make good cells in the body, what will happen is that it's going to undergo degenerative changes that could lead to an early cell death, early apoptosis, or cancer. Next slide, Francis.
Doc, is this already a good example of tissue regeneration?
It is the best example of tissue regeneration, but you can see that from a damaged ileal tissue unable to regenerate itself at the control group, the top, you can see that the growth for those taking Immurogen, the dietary nucleotide Immurogen, the growth of the ileal villi is the prime example of ileal growth or cellular regeneration or cell growth.
Okay.
So here is another study done by Dr. Clara Kubilkova and Alice Mosella. They took and studied the gut microbiota, the alterations with supplementation, the alterations of gut microbiota with nutritional supplement Immurogen. I did a training, a Zoom training on the effect of dietary nucleotides in your gut. And this was also an article was done just recently, 2020, and published September of 2020. And what did the article say? Next slide. According to the article, that the gut microbiota is one of the modulators that influence the host development, the development of the body, the metabolism of the body, as well as some immunological, immune system, psychological, and cognitive abilities. So it means that your small gut can affect your brain, can affect cognitive ability, the ability of your body or ability of you to respond to environment and even psychological changes. The gut microbiota influence the enteroendocrine regulation, which is the regulation of the hormones in the gut, neurohormonal regulation, as well as the natural immune system regulation. So there are a lot of things that the gut will be able to do: endocrine, neurohormonal, and as well as immune system regulation. So disruptions which can occur in life, when particularly when we eat bad food, our gut undergoes what we call a dysbiosis. There is a change in the gut microbiota, and this is dysbiosis, and this in turn influences the host homeostasis and could lead to diseases. And the disease itself, for example, an increase in the bad bacteria could dysregulate and lead to more problems in the gut, and could also interfere not only with your gut but also with your brain. So they have the study demonstrated that that Immurogen boosts the good bacteria, which is the Bacteroides and Firmicutes bacteria, with the good bacteria, the Bacteroides bacteria are the good bacteria, increasing with the good bacteria increasing with Immurogen dosage. Next slide, Francis. So what is Immurogen? Immurogen contains the 5 nucleotides, the 118 oligopeptides and proteins, the 17 amino acids, the vitamins, minerals, zinc, and iron. And the nucleotides are required for the repair of defective cells. Any cells of the body are cells every day undergoes defective changes, particularly when exposed to radiation. And there is a natural defense mechanism in the body, natural ability of the body of your DNA to repair. All they need are the right materials for the repair process to proceed. So the ability of the body to build, maintain, and repair and regenerate the cells could be important, is important, because the nucleotides play an important role in maintaining optimal health. So the health benefits of DNA and RNA supplementation is that it supports RNA and DNA integrity, contains nucleotides, which are the building blocks of the cells, supports DNA repair in damaged cells, particularly cells that had been exposed to radiation, could become cancerous. It boosts your immune system and helps maintain the end caps, the telomeres, which are the ones responsible for aging. So it is the natural anti-aging formula of the body. It generates ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, which is the energy requirement of the body and the energy source of the body, and it maximizes DNA rejuvenation. So the Immunogen liquid, the Immunogen comes in different preparation. Our strongest and flagship product is the Immunogen liquid. Contains 1.5 milligrams of Immunogen. It does contain the same ingredients, amino acids, 117 amino acids, peptides, and the 5 nucleotides. The next product is the Immunogen capsule. It contains 0.5 milligrams of Immunogen, contains the same ingredients, the nucleotides, the amino acids, the 17 amino acids, and 118 oligopeptides. The only thing that contains whey protein and zinc lactate, and comes in a capsulized form compared to the liquid. The liquid, of course, is easily absorbed. So we also have the Immunogen glucan, which is the same Immunogen product, but this time it contains 0.3 milligrams per capsule of the Immunogen, but it also contains the 1316 beta-glucan, which is the strongest beta-glucan in the market right now. The glucan is one responsible for further boosting your immune system, as well as immunoregulation, meaning it regulates your immune system so that it will not be hyperactive and it will not be overactive, and it will just be like right activity for the right infection. The other product is your Immunogen Immune Plus, one of my favorites, because it is actually loaded with adenosine, which is the precursor for adenosine triphosphate with adenine. Okay, the ATP, which is the energy expenditure or the energy needed by the body. Its concentration is 0.8 milligrams per capsule. So per tablet, you put this tablet in one glass of water, preferably 500 ml, and drink it twice a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. This is my favorite, particularly when I need more energy when I go biking. I need to increase my energy so that I can bike further away, longer. And for athletes and those without too much problems, all they need, particularly teenagers like me and Dr. Arlie, we drink a lot of our Immunogen Immune Plus. And Francis also. So the last is the fulvic minerals. This is the only product from Forever Healthy that does not contain nucleotides. And why do we add fulvic minerals? Because it contains 72 trace minerals and electrolytes. It is the one responsible for supporting digestion and helps the body absorb nutrients from food. It helps absorb 60 to 70 times the nutrients from food, the minerals from food, and the water from the food that you're eating. So it helps absorb your nucleotides, your Immunogen, better than just taking it without fulvic minerals. It also promotes CoQ10 health levels, higher CoQ10 meaning good for your heart. It helps the water enter the cell at a faster rate. So basically, this is the transport mechanism of water, nutrients, and nucleotides from outside of the cell to inside of the cell, as well as not only that, it helps also remove the waste from the cell. The metabolism of the cell removes the waste from the cell outside of the cell into circulation and down to your excretory system, which is your urine and your gut stool. So it helps with delivery and cleansing of your system. So basically, it helps with detoxification because it removes all the bad ingredients in the body. Francis?
Okay, so next will be a short video that would summarize what has been discussed by Dr. Mario.
The simplest way to explain our product is by explaining why you should take it and how it works. Our body is affected by numerous factors, both external and internal. External factors include the environment, pollution, the weather, ultraviolet rays, and other factors. Internal factors include the food we eat and drink, nutrition, and stress. These are part of our everyday lives and are often overlooked. Other internal factors would be what we inherited from our parents and other genetic factors. These predispositions can have an effect on our health or the strength of the body at the DNA level. All of these factors largely contribute to our lack of overall wellness and health. Forever Healthy Products brings to you Immurogen, a complex of dietary nucleotides containing peptides, oligopeptides, proteins, minerals, and vitamins that support normal body functions and help boost our immune system. For our body to be healthy, we need to make sure our organs, like the heart, the brain, the kidneys, and every other organ in our body, is healthy. Our organs are made of tissue, and our tissue is made up of countless cells. This is where most of the industry is currently focused, on the cellular level. We at Forever Healthy Products go even deeper and are revolutionizing how we shape our lives by going deeper to the DNA level. DNA is essentially the blueprint of life. DNA is composed of a chain of nucleotides, guanine, cytosine, thymine, and adenine, to maintain the homeostasis or normal body functions. By ensuring we have healthy DNA, we ensure healthy cells that make healthy tissue, which become healthy organs, and finally ensuring a healthy body, affording us a fulfilled and happy life. Immurogen supports the body's structure and functions by providing the nutrients needed for a healthy body. Forever Healthy Products has the exclusive rights to offer this one-of-a-kind nucleotide food supplement around the world. The product has been researched and studied for decades and proven safe for the young, the elderly, and even the sportsman or athlete. This is just the tip of the iceberg on how this incredible product can give you an incredible life. To know even more, visit us at www.foreverhealthyproducts.com and take the first step in enriching all facets of your life.
Okay, guys, so we're about to end the presentation. Then after the presentation, we can take some questions from you guys. You can type your questions in the chat box. Okay, so why you should take it? Immunogen is backed by science. Research, when it comes to research and clinical exposure, it has been since the 1950s and works at the DNA level. The recipe of Immunogen, which are nucleotides, which are the building blocks of our DNA, peptides, oligopeptides, essential amino acids, minerals, supports the dogma of life. The dogma of life is the process on how the body regenerates and repairs itself. Our products perfectly address the health issues we are confronted today And these are natural products that help the body bring back to homeostasis, or meaning balance, okay, to heal itself naturally. And one thing everyone has to consider is prevention is still better than cure. So your investment today, you have to consider your investment today versus the cost of hospitalization. Okay, so our message is we need to focus on our DNA health and function, DNA stability, and DNA repair. Okay, so our company, we focus on nucleotides because we value life at the DNA level. Okay, so maybe we could take some questions, Doc
Yes, yes, we can
Mario.
take some questions.
Yobi, do you have some message to our participants? Please unmute. What would you advise them?
Yeah, maybe Dobby, what changes did you feel when you were taking Immurogen? Ano nararamdaman mo nung umiinom ka ng Immurogen?
Yung naramdaman ko, bumalik yung ano ko, yung energy, my energy, at saka parang wala akong, every time na kine-chemo ako, that time, I did not feel the way the other,
The side effects of chemotherapy, right?
yes,
Walang
the chemotherapy. Wala akong side effect like
basta
vomiting,
Yeah.
no, nothing, no, nothing. Malakas ako. Parang hindi ko nga alam na parang may sakit ako, pero totoo, I feel energetic pa rin.
Energetic, yeah. The
Yes.
the same things that my patients with stage 4 breast cancer are saying, that these people, when I took Immurogen, or when I started to take Immurogen, I looked like I did not have stage 4 breast cancer because I was
Yes.
feeling well, I was looking well, I was even looking
Yes.
better than before. So
Yes.
pakiramdam raw nila malakas sila, parang walang cancer. They look
Yes
like
po.
they do not have cancer.
And
So we strongly advise that for you guys, number one, like Dr. Arlie used to say, you have to follow what the doctor says, but supplement yourself with the dietary nucleotide that is helpful at the DNA level, which is Immurogen. Francis?
yes, thank you very much, Doc Mario. Yovi, you did mention earlier that you just had your recent checkup. When was this?
October, last October.
So last October, what were
Yes.
these?
Yeah.
What were
Yeah,
these?
all the results were okay. My oncologist told me that, before when I was in my chemotherapy, she told me to stop my Immurogen, but I did not. But now, after my chemo, she told me that you just go take your, what you're taking, supplement. And then she told me just recently that all your results came out okay. So just continue what you're taking.
She's amazed.
Yes.
Didn't you recruit her yet?
Because sir, when I was during my sessions in chemotherapy room, I show it to her. My Immurogen, I told her that, Doc, this is what I'm taking now. So, yeah, you better stop it because it will the session, the treatment.
Interfere with the
I did not stop.
That
So
was
after that was
2 years ago.
2018.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2018.
2018, yes.
And then I get yung bleeding, internal bleeding, and
From the
my blood pressure become 60/40. Then she stopped the chemotherapy, and then she told me, okay, you just continue what you're taking. Until now, she told me always that it's okay, you just continue what you're taking.
Is she not recommending to her patients? I presume not.
I even gave her, Sir Francis, the
Literature.
yes, I gave her all the doctor yung legalities of I
Uh,
don't know if she happened to read
no,
it, and
as Dr. Mario has been mentioning to us, they're afraid that they might lose their patients, if they start
That's
giving.
true. Like you don't have to go regularly to see your doctor, only once or twice a year.
yes,
Diba?
yes, yes,
So
sir.
your doctor is not making money out of you anymore
No, no more.
because you don't have to undergo chemotherapy, and the
No
doctors are
more.
making a lot of money from the chemotherapy.
Yes.
Okay, Arthur, we see a lot of Singaporeans in today's webinar. Arthur, you can unmute. Are there questions from them? Maybe you can translate if there are. Arthur? I would like also to acknowledge our friend from Malaysia. We have Andrew Chen. Andrew, please unmute.
Hi, Francis. Good
Hi.
afternoon, everyone in the Philippines. Happy Saturday to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm most happy and willing to hear from people who have benefited from the products, So it's a very good sharing today.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, so Arthur, okay. SG Arthur, unmute. Okay, Arthur.
Hello.
Yes, Arthur.
Thank you.
Okay, so are there questions from our from the participants of Singapore?
I'd like to ask the doctor, how is there a protection against this virus? Protection prevention.
Yeah, let me talk briefly about how you can protect yourself against viruses. Okay, the body is able to do that because one of the things you have to understand is that we have what we call the innate and immunity, which will be able to fight any foreign body inside of the body. Yeah. So if a foreign body like a virus goes inside of the body, your immune system will detect that it is foreign. It is not one of those things that is normal in the body. So what will happen is that your body will produce antibodies against that viruses. So what you want right now is the body's ability to produce more antibodies against the virus. So what will happen is that if you are exposed to a virus, for example, and you have a weak immune system, what will happen is that your body will not be able to produce antibodies, and antibodies are proteins. So this slide that you can see right now, DNA to RNA to proteins, the antibodies that are being manufactured, the immunoglobulins are proteins, but it is your DNA that tells the body to manufacture immunoglobulin, the protein. And your DNA can only tell that and be able to manufacture your antibodies if you have the dietary nucleotides that are included in the dietary supplement Immurogen. So if you take Immurogen will tell your DNA to produce more antibodies to fight the viruses inside of the body. The same thing happens when you take Immurogen glucan. The glucan also synergistically acts by telling or improving your immune system response to the virus, meaning that if you are exposed to, for example, to a viral component, you will have an immediate immune system response to the virus. And when that happens, the virus will not be able to propagate inside of the body. But the glucan will help also in mitigating an overreacting immune system, because we do not want overreactions, because what will happen is that for some problems like autoimmune disease, these are overactive immune systems which has gone out of control. We do not want that, but the Immurogen glucan sees to it that it immunomodulates and prevents your immune system from overacting. When it is not needed, your immunity is already brought down. When your immune system does not need to be active, the Emergen glucan can bring down your immune system so that it could relax and not be overactive. Does that explain the concept of Emergen glucan in terms of viral problems, viral infections, Arthur?
Yes, yes, thank you. Second question. As I know, the glucan is the first in the market as an immunoregulator. What is the benefit?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get you.
I mean the glucan, as I was informed that is the only one on the market right now as an immunoregulator.
Yeah, the glucan is an immunomodulator. That's why we added it, so that we do not like our body to be hyperactive again, over hyperactive too much, because that will lead to immune system overactivity called autoimmune diseases. So the combination of Emergen liquid, Emergen capsule plus Emergen beta-glucan and the full big minerals in terms of trying to facilitate and increase the ability of the body to respond and assimilate the nucleotides into the cell can be the best defense against the viruses that we have right now in our situation right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I may add, Dr. Mario, one thing that everyone should be understanding is the body has the ability to heal itself naturally. Right, doctor?
Yeah.
And nucleotides is basically the building blocks of our DNA, which is the foundation. Right, doctor?
Yeah.
So, in other words, we have to strengthen now the body with nucleotides, which is the foundation, so that we can counter now the effects of Arthur's concern.
That's true. Again, you can see from this chart, okay, the proteins that we want to manufacture are called the immunoglobulins, which are your antibodies. The immunoglobulin A and immunoglobulin B at G and IgM. So the only way we can produce immunoglobulins is for the DNA to tell the RNA, then the RNA tells the manufactures the immunoglobulin outside of the nucleus, so that these immunoglobulins are the one responsible for fighting the viruses that you have been infected with. So maybe, Francis, we can go about what's the difference between stem cells and dietary nucleotides. Then, according to Rain Brill, then maybe you can go back to the cell. The cell. So let me talk about this briefly and tell you about the difference between nucleotides and stem cells. Stem cell is this one, the cell. Okay, that is only stem cell. So the cell is the one responsible. A lot of the products are being manufactured right now that only addresses problems in the cellular level. But again, the cell can be damaged. For the cell to be able, for example, a stem cell to be able to produce more cells, because, for example, a brain stem cell or a bone marrow stem cell needs to manufacture new bone marrow cells that produces new blood cells. So that stem cell needs to produce new blood cell, but the stem cell is only a cell. The one responsible for telling the cell to manufacture new cells is called the DNA. And the only time that the DNA can manufacture a new cell is when they are able to split. Okay, one cell has to split into two cells. 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, 16 becomes 32, 32 becomes 64, etc., etc., until you make millions and billions of cells. And the only time that the body is able to make millions and billions of cells is that they have to have the nucleotides in them, because the DNA before the cell is split into two, before a stem cell becomes a brain cell, okay, it has to split the DNA first. It has to copy the DNA first, because the DNA of the mother cell and it splits into two daughter cells should be the same DNA as the two daughter cells. They have to have the same DNA as the mother cell. So we need 30 billion nucleotides in order to produce one cell. So 3 billion, I mean, 3 billion for one cell. So if one cell splits into two, you need 3 billion for one cell, another 3 billion for another cell. You need 6 billion nucleotides to produce, to split one DNA into two cells. So your stem cell, in order to be able to function well, your stem cell, you need the nucleotides, because the stem cell will not be able to manufacture and produce more of the cells that are important in the body, the cells that had been damaged, like the brain cells if you had a stroke, your heart muscles, if you heart cells, if you have had a heart attack, your liver, your kidney, all the cells in the body. So if the DNA is able to manufacture new cells, then you will have new tissues and your organs will be healed better. That's the difference between stem cell and nucleotides. The stem cell is dependent on the nucleotides, because the nucleotides are the building blocks for the stem cells.
As maybe you can make an analogy on building a house.
Yeah. That's my. I always love that analogy about the house, because one of the things you have to understand is that the more a house gets damaged every day, but if the house is not maintained properly, all the damages will occur regularly, and if it's not being repaired, what will happen? The damages accumulate until finally your house gets old and dilapidated. And when that happens, the same thing with our body. If you neglect your body at this early stage, that's why we are telling you that at early, if you have to take your nucleotides early on, because you do not want your body to be neglected, and when you get old age, you're full of diseases and full of illnesses, and you're so sick that you did not take care of your body early on. So the house, the same thing. If you neglect your house, it will just accumulate, and at the end of the day, after a few years of neglect, your house will crumble. So it has to be specific. If you have a damaged roof, you have to have materials for the roof. All right? So here in the body, the same thing. If you have damage at the DNA level, particularly at the nucleotides, what materials do you need? You need the nucleotides in order to repair the damage at the nucleotide levels. You do not need cells. You need the nucleotide. You do not need stem cells, because the only way for the stem cell to be able to produce new cell is when the nucleotides, when the DNA is able to tell the cell to produce new cell. And the only way you can do that is if you have enough DNA, because like the study that you had showed, so DNA nucleotide deficiency promotes genomic instability in early stages of cancer development. So even if you have stem cells, what will happen is that if you do not have the nucleotides, your body will be able to, your body won't be able to produce normal good cells, and what will happen is that you can be prone to the development of early stages of cancer.
Okay. Thank you very much. Rain, just to simplify your question, stem cell is already at cellular level. Ang ating produkto is basically on the at the DNA level. yung pinakapuno, yung pinakaugat. Yan yung nucleotides. Kasi pag inayos mo yung DNA mo, basically it follows. It can fix your chromosomes, nucleus, cell,
So
and
any cell in the body, whether
Yeah.
it be kidney cell, it could be brain cell, no sperm cell, bone marrow cell, red blood cells, any cell in the body, we're talking, okay? If you fix your DNA, your cell will be fixed. So if it's the kidney cell will be fixed. If the kidney is fixed, if your kidney tissues are fixed, your kidneys are fixed. Then if you have problems with your kidney, then the need for example, going to dialysis decreases. And I have a lot of patients who have undergone dialysis continuously. They said once a dialysis patient, always a dialysis patient, but a lot of them who had taken Immunogen had stopped dialysis. And why is this? Because the body was supporting the science that the body is able to repair itself. All it needs, like the house that is damaged, you need the materials for the body or the house to be repaired. The more damaged the house, the longer it takes, the more simple damage in the body, the faster the body will be able to address that problem. The same thing with the house. Pag madali lang, maliit lang ang sira, madaling ayusin. Pag malaki ang sira, mas matagal ayusin. You need your body. If you have a lot of problems in the body, you have to give your body the chance to recover and repair itself.
in other words, Rain, ang sagot dyan, pag mayroon ng-offer sa inyan, stem cell ka lang, DNA kami. Okay? So,
That's right. That's correct.
okay, there's a question here from Rita B. Can someone from IBS? Doc, what's an IBS?
Nasaan yun?
Medyo naunang tanong to eh. Rita B. Can someone from IBS take this? Rita, what's an IBS?
Where's the question? I can't seem to find it.
Please. No, it was asked to me directly. Sorry, you won't see it.
Irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh, okay. Yun lang pala yun. Okay.
Okay, irritable bowel syndrome. What's the problem of irritable bowel syndrome?
Which products and dosage can they
Okay,
take?
ano ba ang irritable bowel syndrome? Like what it says, it's a bowel that is irritable. Di ba? Mabilis ma-irritate, mabilis mainis. It's easily irritable. So irritable bowel syndrome, you have diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, very violent diarrhea. You're very susceptible to a lot of food. But then again, like the study that can you show again, Francis, the gut study?
Okay,
Like the study that we showed you earlier about the gut, that intestinal villi, that Immunogen supports the growth of the intestinal villi. If the intestinal villi is able to produce more ileal epithelial growth and regeneration, what will happen? Show the next slide, Francis. The gut, irritable bowel syndrome of the gut will be rectified. But then again, the irritable bowel syndrome, like Crohn's disease, has also an autoimmune component, meaning that there is an overacting of the immune systems. That is why you take the Immunogen, which has some Immunogen liquid, which has some immunomodulator function, but not as much and strong as the Immunogen glucan, which is the strongest autoimmune or immunomodulator in the country right now, in the world right now. So if you have an irritable bowel syndrome, the combination of Immunogen liquid, fulvic minerals, plus your Immunogen glucan can help in preventing and mitigating the side effects, particularly the destruction of your ileal gut mucosa because of too much diarrhea.
Okay, Arthur, are there more? Because I'd like to take this advantage. Are there more questions from Singapore?
So let's talk more about the viruses, okay? So like I always tell my patients, okay, you need protection. What we're experiencing right now is a very, very strong. I give an example that it's a very strong typhoon. When you have to go out and face the typhoon, you go out with protection, right? You have to have an umbrella, you have to have a jacket, you have to have boots, all right, in order to protect every part of the body, right? Well, right now, what we are having right now because of this virus that is spreading all around and mutating again and again and again is that we are in a typhoon. So whatever protection you have to take, you take your protection for your vaccine if you want to. But the more protection that you have, particularly when you take your Immunogen, your Immune Plus, your Fulvic, plus your Immunogen Glucan, then you have more protection and maybe add on a little vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc. Then you are fully protected and the chances of you getting the virus goes down tremendously. The same thing when you go out in a typhoon, you have your umbrella, your jacket, your boots. The more fully protected and the more protection that you have, then you are protected from getting sick. I hope that actually helps in explaining how the body is able to protect itself. The more you can help your body protect itself, then the better you are in the long run.
Okay, there's another question here from Rita B. What's the difference between glucan and capsule?
The beta-glucan is a capsule form, but it has beta-glucan. The Immunogen capsule is just like the Immunogen liquid, but in a capsule form. And that's a difference.
So in other words, the Immunogen
Capsule.
Glucan, it contains not just the Immunogen, but it also has the
Glucan.
benefits of glucan.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that answered the question. Okay, may Andrew, can you share some thoughts, your thoughts first, Sir Andrew? Sir
Andrew, how do you like my electric bicycle? That's going to be my main mode of transport because I don't like the Speedster S. Harley Davidson Speedster. Too much power for me.
Hi, Dr. Ali, Dr. Mario.
Dr. Mario.
Okay, guys. Before I will talk about that later on. Okay, let's talk about. I want to, in addition to what Dr. Mario has clarified just now about stem cell and nucleotides, I actually have done a PowerPoint presentation on the myths and truths about stem cell therapy products. You see, in the first place, a lot of people do not know what is stem cell therapy. I can tell you this, Dr. Mario and Dr. Ali, I am confident I can teach you a few facts. I'm very confident.
Yeah, I'm happy
because
to learn.
I have done research for the last 6-7 years on this matter. A lot of people do not understand what is stem cell therapy. My bottom line is very simple here to tell you today. In the first place, you cannot even compare stem cell therapy products to nucleotides. Because why? I will speak in Tagalog. Because all the so-called stem cell products out there that you can find in the market in Tagalog is wala stem cell. Wala stem cell. There's no stem cell inside.
Can you speak? Can you say that in Chinese? Because we have a lot of Chinese from Singapore.
I don't want to say that to the Singaporeans because I understand the way Arthur Tan background is. He was attached with a stem cell therapy product company, which I know of. So it's not convenient for me to say that in Chinese, but given the opportunity in another occasion, I will present my PowerPoint presentation, but subject to you not recording it, okay? Because I will dissect and analyze the myths and the truth. I will even show you the certificate of what is the ingredient by the Malaysian Pharmaceutical Bureaucratic Agency step inside there. What is actually the ingredient? That's why I'm confident to tell you that there is no stem cell, whether patay or alive inside.
Yes, I
stem
would
cell
like to
product.
hear that.
Yeah. You listen to me carefully. Wala stem cell. There is no stem cell dead or alive in an oral stem cell product. Okay. If you want to know, when I have the opportunity, I will present this PowerPoint presentation to you. Then you understand there is actually no competition, no comparison. You cannot even compare stem cell therapy product to nucleotides ingredient product, which is the immunogen, because in the first place, there is no such thing as apple stem cell or what animal stem cell. Okay. Number two,
Yeah, Andrew,
the animal stem cell,
Andrew,
yeah.
I just wanted to make clear on this. You're referring only to stem cell products, huh? Not the stem cell procedure.
Not only, okay, my PowerPoint presentation will highlight and will educate people what is stem cell processes, what are stem cell products, how you can benefit from it, and how it works, where you can get the stem cell, what are the sources, how you can get it, what different type of stem cell can do, and all that. I mean, my presentation are always very simplified and easy to understand one. So I've done that already. So I put it under as the myth and the truth about stem cell therapy products. So inside it, I will tell you about the processes, the sources, and all that, what it can do, what are the products in the market, what they can do, and what are the lies. What are the lies that those sellers are telling you, including the doctors, including the ignorant doctors are telling people that there are stem cell inside those products, okay? It will be a very powerful and impactful insight into what is stem cell products, okay?
We schedule you next week. We schedule you in one of our webinars next week. I'll tell to Ma'am Susan.
No problem. Probably inside her, because I do not want to compete with the doctors, because I'm not a doctor, because my qualification is not a doctor. I would like to, I think the forum would be a better avenue to, probably next week inside the forum, beside the continuation, maybe a little bit of continuation on the part 3, and then and the side topic of the. Okay, the topic will be, I will just WhatsApp to you. I would like the topic is the myths and truth about stem cell therapy products. Inside it, I will talk about what is stem cell therapy and what are products and how you can benefit from it. What are the sources? I will tell you where I get the information from. I get it from doctors. Okay. I verify, my data is always verified sources one. Okay, it's not like because last night I went to sleep, this morning I woke up, I feel very nice, then I write. Okay, my data is always verified one. All right.
Thank you very much, Andrew. We truly appreciate your comments. Okay. So, are there more questions? Arthur? Arthur from Singapore. Okay, I believe there are no more questions, and maybe before we end this, let's hear some advice from Liovi. Liovi, would you like to, let's do some parting words, Liovi. What would you like to say to our listeners?
Yeah, as of now, until now, I never stopped taking Immunogen, especially at this time of pandemic. We need it very badly. Now, I just want to tell everyone there that is already on the taking Immunogen, just continue and believe in the product. Believe in the product. I can guarantee you myself.
And maybe you could say something also to those who are suffering from the disease right now. What would you advise them to do?
Yes, that's still you need to take, especially the liquid, the glucan, all of the products. You need to take it, and don't worry about, just think positive, and Immunogen is Ma'am Susan is what's we call this, she is the one who bring it, but it's it's a God-given product. No, she's just the instrument, and Sir Leon Katz is the instrument of but that we are having right now, that Imurigine. It's a God-given, so don't hesitate, don't think, don't be doubted with the product. Continue. If you are sick, no worries. Keep on taking Imurigine, just like me until now.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Yobi.
Yes, and one of the things you have to understand is I agree with Dobby. Just believe in the product, take Imurigen, and you have to take the Imurigen liquid, the glucan, especially if you had problems, like if you have kidney problems, you have diabetes, you have to take all the products. Imurigen liquid, the more important is the liquid, the glucan, and the fulvic, because you have to take or let your body heal itself. It will not heal itself in 7 days, or it will not
Yes.
heal itself in 2 weeks. It will take months of taking the product before your blood sugar, your hypertension, your heart, all these can repair after of only about a few months. Generally, it's about 3 months of taking the product, and you can see that the improvement will be there after a few months of taking the product. So you do not take the product for just 1 week. It's not going to, and expect that there's something going to happen and you will be back to normal in 1 week. Okay, that's not how it happens, because you've been sick for years and years and years, and you expect a miracle that you will be well in 1 week. That's not possible. You have to pray more if you want miracles.
Yes. Yes. That's very true.
And by the way, we give out free consultations with our doctors. Just go back to the person who introduced this to you, and they would know exactly how they can reach out to Dr. Mario and Dr. Arlie. Okay, so okay, Doc Mario, would you like to do your
Yes,
closing?
thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you you learned a lot of things today, and please do join us on our next Zoom, particularly this coming Monday evening, US Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. That's around 11 p.m. Tuesday morning at the Philippine Standard Time. So see you then. Thank you
Yeah.
everyone for joining.
On Tuesday Manila time, we will be having Dr. Jose Oclarit. He's a multi-awarded scientist, and just recently he was nominated in what's this group? Doc Mario, he was nominated in Nobel for chemistry. Okay, and his topic would focus on what does the thyroid do. Okay, so that will be 11 a.m. on that will be Tuesday for us here in Manila. Okay, so then again, guys, I'd like to thank you everyone for supporting our webinar, and have a nice weekend. This is Francis giving you your blessings this weekend. Okay, so it's time to unmute and say our blessings to everyone.